There's nothing that they're even arguing for. It's just a anger, a lash out, the petulant fit of a child. I saw our friend Ryan Gerdusky share a data point that some of you may have also seen out there. And he said, hey, the only place that's having babies is Trump voting areas. And that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but here is Gerdusky's headline, and I was reading it this morning as I was getting ready. Among the counties with the highest fertility rate so far in 2025, all of them voted for Donald Trump. 60.5% of the babies born in 2025 so far were in states that voted for Trump in the last election. And he dives into the data. And I was thinking about this because my assistant, Katie, had her baby girl, and we went to go visit Annie, who is 1 day old. And I got to hold a 1 day old baby, and I forgot I had 3 1-day-old babies at one point in my household, but I just forgot how small they are. And her in-laws were there, and she's doing great. And this is her second baby, and everybody's very excited. And if you are fortunate enough to have kids or grandkids that have recently joined your family, you know that feeling of just optimism and excitement. And we talked about this on the program because Buck's got a 6-month-old. And it's hard not to be optimistic about the future and also committed to building a better future when you have a baby in your arms. And I was thinking about this in the context of the government shutdown and putting all this together as I was doing my reading and getting ready for the show today. And I was thinking about what is the message that Democrats are selling such that the most ardent of all Democrat supporters have decided that they should not have children, that kids are too much of a drain on the climate, that we are headed for some form of apocalyptic future, and if you add children to the mix, that somehow you are making things worse and you are throwing them basically into the proverbial boiling pot, and there's no hope. And I was thinking about that in the context of the shutdown. And I think one of the real challenges that the Democrat Party has is not that its messaging is being unheard. It's that its message is being heard, and it's so profoundly dark that even the people who buy into the message are making decisions that are worse than if they never listened to the message at all. Well, this is a big picture analysis, but I think it all kind of ties together. If you're not willing to have children, you are effectively saying, I don't believe in the future. I don't buy into the idea that humanity is going to lead us to a better place. And I think it ties in with one of the questions that we asked that was so important in the aftermath of Trump's big win in November that so many of you and us all contributed to. It was, what is the Democrat Party going to do with this? They had two options. They could look in the mirror and they could say, the nation heard our message and they overwhelmingly rejected it. Or they could argue, as Kamala Harris is now doing in her book, 107 Days, which Buck is reading, and I cannot wait to hear his review of. Or they could argue, as Kamala Harris did, we just didn't have enough time. Our message didn't get out there. It wasn't able to be heard by the American public. And Democrats are still focused on number two. They're focused on the message not being heard loud enough. But I think that's profoundly wrong. I think the message of what they are selling is being heard and rejected. And it's being rejected by huge swaths of the population, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, reasonable, common sense, family-oriented voters out there across the nation of a wide variety of backgrounds. Remember, all 50 states moved towards Trump in 2024. But it's not just that their message is being rejected by the American voter. It's that the people that are hearing their message and acting on it are actually making worse decisions for their lives. Think about that for a moment, because I don't know that we've ever really lived in an era where something like that could happen. Democrats that are the most committed, the most left wing in the country, they are hearing what their party is arguing, and they are saying, things are so bad now. America is so awful that I don't want to bring children into this country. They are hearing what Democrats are arguing, and they are saying, we have to kill President Trump because he is Hitler. They are hearing what Democrats are arguing, and they are saying, we have to go kill Charlie Kirk. We can't argue against his message. His words are violence that we have to answer with violence of our own. They're burning down churches. They're going into schools, and they are killing innocent children at Christian schools in Minneapolis and in Nashville. They're trying to show up and kill Supreme Court justices because they're concerned about what their rulings are going to do on the Roe v. Wade issue. You stitch all this together, and the nation, thankfully, is rejecting the arguments being made by the Democrat Party. But the shutdown is being led by the far left of this party, the part of the party that is just angry and just demands that there be conflict and confrontation. And yet that element of the party is toxic and sick, and it's now infecting not only their political beliefs, but it's impacting in a very negative way the larger society around them. Such that if you voted for Kamala Harris, you don't want to have kids. Now, long range, this is a very self-defeating proposition because, as Ryan Gardusky is saying, in 2025, if 60.5% of kids are being born in Trump states, and if Trump counties are overwhelmingly seeing population growth, well, this is a lot of babies being born for freedom. And the overall structural problems that confront the Democrat Party actually are profoundly more challenging going forward because theoretically, those families are going to raise their kids to be proud of America and to support freedom and to support the overall American way of life. But as they fall further behind and as their worldview becomes darker and more nihilistic, I think we have to all prepare ourselves for way more violence. And I don't think all of this has been put together necessarily, and a lot of people have thought about it, but the next census is going to basically make it impossible for Democrats to win a presidential election. And I want to tell you, maybe you're out there and you want to prepare. It looks like, I knocked on wood, we're going to have a relatively so far quiet, I hope it continues, hurricane season. But tornadoes are going to be coming back through in the south where I live in the spring. There's always the danger of floods. We know that anything can happen. Why not have a rapid radio to help protect yourself and your family? 5-day charge so that you can be reached no matter what. Whatever communication device you want to use, it tries to connect on any of the LTE networks. So if anything's up and running, you're going to be able to be up and running. And again, 5 days charge without having to recharge. We have these in the Travis household. We use them. Elderly family members and also young kids in the household that maybe aren't as good on cell phones. You can get hooked up right now. Rapidradios.com to save up to 60% off. Get free UPS shipping from Michigan. Just use code radio for an extra 5% off. That's rapidradios.com, code radio, 60% off, free UPS shipping from Michigan. That's rapidradios.com, code radio.